This tutorial will help you set up multi-leader styles. Now, multi-leaders, like dimensions, are a little awkward to set up, but once they are set up, they're actually quite easy to use. Before setting up your style, it's quite important to determine at what scale your drawing is going to be printed out at. If I go through to my paper space here, I've got an A4 sheet of paper with a viewport just inside, and if I double click in, you can see the scale down here is currently set at 1 to 10. That's 1 to 50. That's 1 to 20. And 1 to 20 is probably going to be the most appropriate size for this drawing, which gives me some room around the edge here for some notes. So 1 to 20 is what I'll work with. I'm going to click on this button on the right hand side of the toolbar here, which will take me through to the style editor. If you're working on the ribbon layout, you'll need to go to Annotate, Multi-Leader, and click on this small arrow here, which will take you through to the manager. I'm going to go back to the traditional setup here of having the toolbars and open up that manager. You'll see there's a style here called Standard. I'll click on New and give this new style a name. And I think it's always quite a good idea to give the style a name depending on the scale for which it's appropriate. So 1 to 20 will do. Leader format, we can decide whether the leader is going to be straight or a spline. You can see the difference in the preview there. The arrowhead size, I think that a factor of 2 units is quite useful. Break size, you can just adjust according to taste. The leader structure itself, the landing distance, something like about 8 is useful. And then very importantly, our scale. Now, if you're an annotative user, you can tick the annotative box, which means your annotation scale down here will be the thing that determines the size or the scale of your multi-leader. If you're not an annotative user, you'll simply specify the scale factor over here. Remember that all these settings here are settings which are appropriate for your paper space or your paper size. In Model, we need to scale those up. So in this case, it's a scale for 1 to 20, so I'm going to use a scale factor of 20. If you're an Imperial user, you'll be using different kinds of scale factors, but the principle is still the same. Content. We can choose our text style. I'm just simply going to use the standard style, but if you did have any specific style that you'd set up, you could choose it from here. And this button here would take you through to the text editor where you could set up additional styles. I think a text height of about 2 millimeters in paper space is good. So 2 times 20 will give us a 40 mil text height in model space. The landing gap I'll simply leave at 2 millimeters there. OK that, and set current. So on to using it then, I'm just going to draw a single multi-leader. You can see it opens up the text editor. We've got all the usual functionality that we have with normal multi-line text. Going through to my paper space, that's perfect. That's going to be 2 millimeter high text for me when I print out this drawing. Now if we were wanting to set up perhaps a style suitable for 1 to 50, I'll go back to the editor, click on New. I'm going to call this one 1 to 50. All I have to do here under leader structure is change the scale factor from 20 to 50. And that'll give me the appropriate size. So for example, having a look at this one here, which is set up for 1 to 20, gives me 2 millimeters. If we were going to print it 1 to 50, what I'll do is just change that to the 1 to 50 style. You can see it's increased quite substantially. But critically, when I change the scale here, 1 to 50, I'm back down to my 2 millimeters for the printing size, which is exactly what I want. A few other options here, and these are probably easy enough to investigate on your own. You can add additional arrows if you have multiple objects off the same note, you can remove different arrows or excess arrows, and you can also line up multi-leaders using this alignment tool. So I hope that's been helpful in just getting you as a beginner used to setting up multi-leader styles.